All right, y'all, let me show you this view to start off with. Isn't this amazing? I'm in the mountains, and here in the mountains, I want to talk about immigration because I've had some time, you get to thinking about things, and I have really been thinking about this conversation that we're having in our nation about immigration. I've been noticing that there's a few different groups of people, and I've really been trying to get inside like their mindset. I know there's one group of people who live in the US and the system works really well for them. Maybe they've never felt unsafe here, never felt pushed out, never felt their rights were questioned or their culture criminalized or their bodies politicized. And I think when you've never experienced that type of marginalization, it can be hard to imagine why someone would risk everything to leave their home country. I hear people say if they want to come here, they should just do it the right way, but they can't even picture what it's like to have to run, to flee violence, economic collapse, climate disasters, or government persecution. But I have seen people who are marginalized, BIPOC folks, queer folks, disabled folks, people living in poverty, often seem to have a little bit more empathy for immigrants. I think because they could imagine having to run. Like, I can imagine a version of this country where the laws become so hostile, so dangerous to people like me that I might have to leave to survive. And that's not just a fantasy, it's a possibility that isn't that far away. And many of us live with that in the back of our minds every day. And I think that understanding builds empathy. Another group that always surprises me are immigrants who have made it through the system themselves. And they're often people who have worked really hard, they've struggled and they made it. And I get it. When you've been through something difficult, you feel like if I did it, why can't they? But sometimes I think it's also like there's something deeper going on there, because I also think that people need to feel like they need to prove that they're true Americans and they're protecting the process that got them here and they're defending it even if it's flawed. And I think that, it's kind of a survival strategy. Like, I'm not that kind of immigrant. I'm a good kind. And it reminds me of sometimes what we see in other marginalized communities that try to assimilate and adapt, right? When I see a black person who's made it into corporate America and suddenly is judging other black folks for not dressing right or speaking right or being too loud, it's like they're trying to say, I made it, I'm safe, don't associate me with them. But what they don't always see is that they're pushing others down to hold on to that safety. And it doesn't help the system, it reinforces it. It reinforces the negative things about it. And it closes the door behind them. It pulls the ladder up behind them. Here's what I believe. I think that most people just want to live in peace. Most people are doing what they need to survive, to protect their families, to have a chance at joy and at safety. And I don't think that's just an immigrant story. That's a human story. So when we talk about immigration, I want us to step out of fear and step into imagination. Could you imagine needing to flee your home? Could you imagine what it would take to leave behind your language, your culture, your community, not because you wanted to, but because you felt you had to? And if you can hold on to that truth, even for a moment, you're probably already closer to empathy than the system wants you to be.